Okay, hello everyone. I'm Sade. I'm the founder of Angelic Fashion House. I'm so excited to be putting on this event for you guys. This is day two, the last day of the Fangirl to Music Industry event. It's been so amazing connecting with everyone, all the viewers, and thank you to all the panelists for taking the time out your day to join us and speak with all of our viewers. So we're just going to go ahead and get started and let you guys introduce yourself. Rachel, you can go ahead and get us started.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I am in Oklahoma. I am the social media representative. I'm one of the article writers for Insane, as well as a fan page founder for several different bands now.
Lee, you could go ahead.
I'm Lee. I am a creative director and designer, and I'm based in Los Angeles. I always say Los Angeles, and I just got corrected, Los Angeles.
Saskia, you can go ahead.
Hi everyone, I'm Saskia. I'm here from London. I do artist development, music marketing and artist management. And I'm also forming a girl band in the UK. So I'm here to help and give you my advice. Thanks for having me.
Sarah, you could go ahead.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I am the founder of The Music Enthusiasts. I'm a band manager. I'm an A&R marketing rep, an A&R marketing intern for Greater Than. I'm a freelance music publicist, and I'm also a concert photographer.
Hannah, you could go ahead.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I am the founder and editor-in-chief of Riot Rage magazine, and I am based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Paula, you could go ahead.
Hi, happy Saturday. I am Paula Moore. I was the first female A&R research executive in the music industry. I am still today the only female A&R research executive with my own IP assets. I own and operate Greater Than, which is an A&R driven music discovery company. And I am the author of best-selling book based on my career, Glitter and Grit, Be Greater as a Creative.
Olivia, you could go ahead.
Hi, my name is Olivia. I am based in New York City right now, and I work in band engagement at a tech music company called Fave, and then I also do freelance social media management and VIP coordination.
Friday, you could go ahead. I don't think your mic is working.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. We're going to go with the gaming headphones. So my name is Friday Jones. I'm an artist, creative entrepreneur, as I like to call it, an ACE. And in addition to making soulful hip hop music, I also have a media and entertainment company called I Love a Good Vibe that helps empathetic and intuitive artists, creative entrepreneurs really understand their brand experience and just take that to the next level.
We have two more hosts, but they're going to come in, they said, a little bit later. We have things to do. So right now, I just want to ask all of our panelists how we started off yesterday was asking questions on how fangirls can transition their fangirl career and into the music industry.
So yeah, I like I said before, I just started to I just started to get in the door by Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Also, when you have if you have bands that you follow on Bands in Town, and they're also on Facebook and everything, connect with them and kind of talk to them about what they need. That's how I got my foot in the door from voluntary work all the way to now it's going to turn into professional work.
I'll jump on the back of that from Rachel, what Rachel said. I would really say it's about networking, collaborating, getting yourself out there and sharing your story. Just getting out there, telling people what you're about, what you're interested in, and just networking sideways as well as above, and just kind of showing your passion, your determination, and your love for music. I think that's a really good start.
I think there are a lot of programs out there. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, please go ahead.
I think there are a lot of programs out there that you can tap into today that, you know, when I was starting out my career just weren't available, including the 2 programs that I run at my company that are specifically designed for young women trying to break into the music business. But there are a lot of them out there. I think those are great things to focus on throughout the year. They have different start times, especially like summer sessions and you know, during school time sessions. My programs in particular do not require you to be in college. You can be any age and be in my programs. So, you know, like I said, there are several out there, but I do agree social media is a great way to build your presence and start your career.
And I just kind of wanted to build off of that. Like for me personally, I started out because I was running like fan accounts. So like I was very much like in the One Direction scene and everything. Harry Styles is still literally one of my favorite artists to this day. I kind of just, you know, built a community off of that because I used to run like update accounts and everything. And from there, like I kind of recognized that like I wanted to work in music. And when I first wanted to look for like these opportunities and everything, when I didn't have like, you know, the professional like brick and mortar experience, I just started talking about the fact that like, you know, I ran update accounts and like I did charity events that he noticed, and like, you know, you don't necessarily need like brick and mortar experience just to start off, but it's like, you know, bringing in that experience that you had beforehand before you were trying to get the real experience. I think that's something that many people should use.
Olivia, I love how you brought up fan accounts because I did the same when I was like in elementary school, even like high school. But yeah, literally just do it. Like, don't even wait for like a specific moment. If you never do anything, then nothing, well, obviously some things will come, but like literally just go for it because nothing is stopping you.
What advice do you guys have for our viewers on how to land internships and what skills would they need for these type of internships that they get in the music industry?
Okay, so we at Insane, I'm just gonna put this out there because our founder Hannah Belanger just got off the phone with me a couple minutes ago. She said that we at Insane are open to those who do not have any kind of experience. I mean, you've never done an interview or something, you know, ask any one of us questions, and we'll you know, Hannah has done several different interviews with a span of a wide-ranging artists and bands. So she will be able to let you shadow her for that if you wanted to.
I also think interns are a great way to kind of gain experience and to kind of get your foot in the door. So it's a good way of trying to prove yourself to employees that you're worthy of the job and that you can do the job. And what I would say is, if you're really passionate about something, is just try it any way you can. So it might not necessarily be the job that you're looking for, but it's a way in the door. So sometimes it might not be exactly what you're looking for, but what I would recommend is trying to sell yourself and what kind of problems that you have that you can solve to an employer, on why you're a good employee. And I think that would be another good benefit for you to apply to internships, because it's a really good way of getting that practical experience. Because I think a lot of places will look for the practical experience as well as the education. So don't just think, oh, I've got the education and that will be enough, because a lot of places will want that practical experience as well. So try Facebook groups, networking, collaborations, asking your friends or anyone in the industry for kind of any kind of intern roles.
Yeah, I would just add to that as well. I actually had an internship. I interned at Universal Motown, and I was able to get into that position because of connections, right? So that idea of just networking, those opportunities that just happen just because you're able to get in the door. But what I will say is what made me stand out as an intern was my own experience in administrative skills, like with clerical work, because most interns are going to start off doing, small gopher task errands, but you show that you can take those small tasks on with the same kind of ambition and that same drive as the larger tasks. So I think that whatever you're asked to do, even as an intern, once you have an internship, I do think taking that seriously and understanding that even if it feels small, it's important.
Yeah, what we look for in interns and what I look for when I was inside of a major label group, but our interns also serve the major label clients that I have, we look for, soft skills like availability and just, enthusiasm for doing whatever comes their way. But in addition, like daily skills that you should be developing if you're looking for internships or developing your career path in general, like knowing how to edit and produce social media content. Content is a big deal in the music industry across all of the different roles. So knowing how to identify brand ethos and artist branding in particular, especially, coming from a fangirl standpoint, understanding the ethos of an artist, the brand, and really how they present themselves, and then how you can step in and help support them in whatever role your internship is in is critical in the music industry.
I think
Yeah,
that's a great point. I'm sorry, I just also wanted to say that what Paula mentioned, it also brought to attention knowing the roles, like knowing, what an A&R does, like what the VP of A&R does versus, oh, this person is just, a different type of executive. There's a lot of research that you can do about the management side of the industry that's going to help you as an intern. So I think that that part is also really important. It's not just like, oh, when the artists come in the door, like everything stops, work still keeps going. So when you're in that side of it, everybody is, really important. So I think understanding what people's roles are and even knowing what you're interested in pursuing will really help once you're in that position.
yeah, and that's kind of what kind of transpired with me when I started talking with the members of Darling Dead, who I mentioned yesterday. We started talking about different goals. They were asking me how long, having you, what was in your academic past and what is, what did you learn from that? I'm going to suggest that when since I'm still in college, my first 2 semesters, I was in work study. And what that taught me was how to do data entry. Now, people don't understand this, but because artists and bands stock up on so much merchandise when they tour, they need all of that logged in someplace. So that's another thing that I would be doing at the merchandise management level for them during a tour.
Hi, I haven't spoken yet because I was a couple minutes late, but I'm Maya. I currently work at CrowdSurf, and I actually was an intern at CrowdSurf before they offered me the job. So I have a couple things I wanted to add. One of my biggest pieces of advice if you're doing an internship and want to be hired after the fact is make sure everyone knows who you are. I reached out to the owners of the company and made sure every single employee knew who I was and knew that I wanted to work there. So before the internship ended, they all knew me personally. And now when I look for interns, I think honestly, I value fan experience the most. So I love seeing update accounts or fan accounts on your resume. I like knowing who you're a fan of and the things that you've done as a fan, because that is way more valuable to me and the work that you're going to be doing than anything you are learning in school or any, outside work experience. Yeah, that's
Networking can be a really scary thing for a lot of people, and a lot of people don't know how to go into it when it comes to networking. Do you guys have any advice for our viewers on how to do networking and how to build up their connections in the industry?
I do. I still like network to this day because like I still am relatively like young into my career and everything. I actually did networking not even like 2 days ago where I literally spoke to like 3 people that I've been wanting to connect with these past couple of months. And I think like the one thing that you really want to do is like when you're looking for somebody to network with is you want to find like a common interest. So like I'll go through somebody's LinkedIn or something and then like I'll see that, oh, like they like to post about, I don't know, like I literally network with somebody because like they like to post about like Harry or whatever doing one of his one night only shows. So I connected with her and I was like, hey, like I really want to speak to you about your role and everything and just like what you do because I saw that you're a fan of Harry. I am too. So I'm like, I just want to like, speak to you about your role and how you got into it and everything. And yeah, so it's kind of just like finding like a talking point as far as like what you want to talk about besides just the job because like while people really do like speaking about their jobs most of the time, I think that it's super important to also just find a common connection for what you like outside of like work. So that's what I like to do, and I especially love using LinkedIn, or like if I find somebody like via like Instagram or Twitter, I'll like try to find their LinkedIn that way, so then like it's more professional. I'm not just like reaching out as like some random person like on their personal life social media accounts and everything. So yeah, that's what I do personally.
I totally agree with Olivia. I always network. I've done a master's and I think it's your network is your net worth. And it's literally about going out there and meeting new people and building relationships, because I think there's a lot of people that believe in just sending emails, but if you actually meet people face to face and build those relationships, those meaningful relationships, and like Olivia said, it doesn't always have to be around what you want, it could be around something that you have in common. But just building those relationships and getting people to know your name and what you're about, and then kind of just sharing your vision and your story. And people will say, okay, for example, you might meet a music supervisor who might be able to help you with placements. You might meet a promoter, you might meet a radio plugger. But if you don't go out there and meet these people, they don't know who you are and they don't know what you're about. So for me, it's been crucial, and I'm always learning. And I think the industry is always developing and evolving. So for me, it's a way of staying in kind of in touch with all the trends that are going on, but also with the changes and obviously building those relationships. So I think it's really key. Yeah, really key.
Yeah, networking is really important at every level and every stage of your career. I couldn't agree more. Keeping present and current and adding to your network at all times is critical. Connections are currency in this industry. So, upping your game as frequently as you can and building a very diverse network is seriously one of the best things you can do. It's one of the best things I did in my career. I have a whole subject matter on it in my book. I have a philosophy and a strategy that led me. I have over 50,000 connections of people that I actually know, that I've built up throughout my career, people that, take my calls that, I haven't worked with in 10 years, but are at the top of the food chain in the music industry. And it's because one simple factor, I've always shown my value to them before I ask them for anything. So that's another critical developmental skill when you're starting out to really focus on.
I'm gonna leave the floor to our viewers where they can raise their hand, or you could go in the chat and ask us questions for our audience. So if you guys have any questions you want to ask them, you can raise your hand, or you can turn on your mics.
I also just wanted to add to the networking piece. I'm super introverted and I'm actually neurodivergent as well. So I know that networking is always a little different for everybody. So I think it's definitely about finding commonalities and just kind of understanding people are people. But I also think finding ways that make you feel comfortable shining, that make you feel comfortable talking. So for me, this is like a lot easier than, being in a crowded, loud, event where there's like a lot of people around, or there might be music or noise. So I think also finding what environment is going to make it easier for you to be yourself and to connect with people. I think that's something that I found with the pandemic. I was able to really network with a lot of people online, and I found that in this area, I kind of networked with people who were local, but there's so many of them that I've never met still, even though they're not far away, but they actually know who I am, and I know who they are, and we've actually built a rapport. So I would say that part as well is that, it doesn't have to be what you think it is whenever you're networking, and it can be what is a little bit more comfortable for you.
Friday, that is such a great point. And I actually want to share a very valuable story, especially for younger women coming up. I had to identify, and I'm very extroverted, and obviously I've been like out in the space for a long time, but I had to figure out the places where I found the most value for my time spent, is what I'll say. Like for years, I would go to South by Southwest for all 12 days, right? And turn around and come home and eventually look at that, like, did I really get a lot of business value out of that? Did I up my game on my network? Did I come back home with someone I could do business with? And most of the time it was, well, it wasn't that valuable. But then look at other experiences like, more intimate, like 14-person dinners that are all kind of industry players that are my peers. Got a lot of value out of going to those in Los Angeles. So I would just say also, to kind of piggyback on what Friday was saying, find those spaces and those opportunities where you think you have the most value added to your network, and go to more of those and spend your energy on those instead of trying to get to 15 shows a night or hoping you're going to get that backstage pass to network with music industry folks at a big show at the Forum or whatever. Like find those spaces where you can get valuable network connections.
Yes, I love that, Paula. And concert photography wise, just like a simple like, hey, who are you shooting for? Like, how'd you learn about this band? Like goes a long way. And then you could just like exchange Instagrams, exchange LinkedIn's. Like it's pretty simple. But this one time I was so like nervous. It was also like my first time shooting a show in the photo pit. I was like, oh my God, this is so different. And I saw this one girl because it was like a full pit of like middle-aged men. And I was like, that really struck out to me because we were the only two girls. And I did not speak to her because, again, I was so nervous. But after like a few days after the show, I found her Instagram by looking at the band's tagged photos. And I was just like, hey, like, I saw you in the photo pit. Like, I love your work. You did awesome. And now we're concert besties. So.
Anybody of our viewers have any questions, feel free to ask your questions, raise your hand, or you can drop it in the chat and we'll answer all your questions that you guys have.
I have a question for all of the panelists. What do you think has been the most challenging part of building your career in the music industry? And anybody can share.
I think for me, it's personally just like being taken seriously due to the fact that like a lot of the experience that I had firsthand was just being a fan. And, while I have, the internship experience and the job experience now, I still have to prove myself every single day because like, I'm normally most of the time like the youngest person in the room because like a lot of the positions that I've been in, thankfully, they've treated me as like an equal, and like I'm not really seen as like an intern, but I'm seen as somebody who's a part of the team and I get the same exact task as everybody else on the team. And I just think that, it's just like kind of just, proving myself, which also just goes into imposter syndrome and, feeling like you belong in that space and, making sure that you have a sense of belonging because you're there for a reason. So I think that's been the most difficult thing for me is knowing that I belong in that space because I'm there with everybody else. And, just making sure that like, I'm treated the same way as everybody else and I'm not given like a certain amount of time to be, I don't know. Yeah, sorry. I just got distracted because of the timer.
I'll add to that because for me it's pretty similar. With my story of how I got my job, I actually started as a fan of one of the artists that I ended up working with. And within that transition, it was really, I had to work so hard to get people to take me seriously, because anytime, if there was a leak or anything got out or like I was always going to be the first person that people turned to, or I was held to a lot of higher standards about how I acted around this band, and how I communicated with them because of where I got my start. And that was a huge struggle to get people to realize, okay, she's a fan, she's valuable, she's not crazy, like we can actually listen to her ideas. And it was a struggle the whole way through. And now it's just, getting people to value that fan experience instead of looking down on it. I like going into my meetings and saying that I started as a fan of Justin Bieber, or that I still am a fan of all these artists, and getting them to realize that it makes me better at my job. Yeah.
I'll just jump on that. And for me, I think it's just been about, sometimes things don't always go to plan and they don't always go how you want them to go. So I think sometimes it's about going back to the drawing table and thinking, okay, that plan didn't work exactly how I wanted it to, but how am I going to achieve what I want to achieve? And everything is achievable. And I think it's about believing in yourself, following your dreams and your passion, but also having to sometimes revisit things and go back to things, because things don't always go to plan, and the industry is like that. And I think it's about being resilient, and also just about being passionate and just not give up. So I think that's a massive thing that I would share.
Sorry about the timer, guys. Still a small business and have to work on funding Zoom Pro, so we don't have to worry about any time limits. I put the new link in the chat for everyone to get in, so we can hop on a new link. Don't have to worry about this timer. So everybody get their time to copy the link, and then we'll just go to the new chat.
I took a photo of mine.
Okay. So you can copy the link.